Hi Christina, I'm just making a video to go over some of your work with you. So I have a bunch of the problems ready, and we'll just look at the ones where you made an error. So this one looks good. That looks good. Now let's look at the next one. 7 plus negative 1 minus 5. So I see here, the first thing you should do is 7 plus negative 1. And it looks like you multiplied 7 and negative 1. So be careful that you're noticing which operations you need to perform. So here we'd have 7 plus negative 1 is 6, and we'd write 6 minus 5, which is 1. Let's look at the next one. Okay, so here we start with 9 minus negative 8. And let's just highlight this. So we're doing 9 minus negative 8, and it looks like you did negative 9 plus 8. So let me write this here. Starting with 9 minus negative 8. One way to think of this, so you could think about 9 and taking away negative 8 with the chips, and we also wrote that you can change subtraction to addition and change the sign of the second number, not the first number. So 9 plus 8. So I changed subtraction to addition. This was negative 8. I changed it to positive 8. So that's 17. So this should be 17 minus 1, which is 16. Okay, looking here, it looks like you're doing something similar with the minusing a negative that you did here. So 1 minus negative 11 is 1 plus, change that to plus, change that to positive, so this should be 12. So this will give us 12. 12 minus 8, so then you wrote down the rest, which is good. 12 minus 8 is 4, and 4 plus negative 2 is 2. Here we're going to start with negative 5 plus negative 4. Okay, so you're adding two negatives, so think about the chips. You have 5 negative chips and 4 negative chips. You combine them together, and that's 9 negative chips. So really be careful. I'm guessing you're thinking of when you multiply or divide two negatives, it's a positive, okay? But that's for multiplication and division. So here this is negative 9. Then negative 9 plus 11 would be 2. And then 2 plus negative 15 is negative 13. Okay, it's a little hard to see this one. We're starting with negative 12 times 2, so working from left to right, this should be negative 24. A negative times a positive is negative. And then a negative divided by a negative is positive, but 24 divided by 6 is 4. Okay, so I'm not sure why you put 2, but negative divided by negative is positive. Okay, 64 divided, this one's good. Okay, let's check this one. 160, so you did that first, that's correct. You copied the rest, and you did 160 divided by 8 is 20. Looks good. Divided by 2 times negative 6. Okay, 20 divided by 2 is 10 times, oh, so this one's good. Okay, here we have 50 divided by negative 10 times 8. This will be negative 5 times 8, good. Negative 2 times 7, negative 14 divided by 2, good. Okay, so here you have addition and multiplication, and the order of operations. Once you have the different operations combined, you work left to right, but first you do any multiplication or division from left to right, then you do addition or subtraction. So here, yes, the addition is first on the left, but we have addition and multiplication. You do multiplication first. So 3 times 4 is 12, and then you'll do the addition. Okay. Same idea here. We're going to do the division first. So 8 minus 4 divided by negative 2 is negative 2, positive divided by a negative. And then 8 minus negative 2 is the same as 8 plus 2, which is 10. Okay, so here we have division, addition, and multiplication. So we'll start with division. Negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 5. That's good. Then next we need to do the multiplication, not the addition. So this is incorrect. So we'll keep the negative 5. And this is plus 5 times negative 8. Well, that's negative 40. And then you're adding two numbers with the same sign, so you add the numbers and keep the sign. So negative 45. Oops, trying to get to the next slide. Here we go. Okay, left to right. First we have division. So it's negative 1 minus 8 times negative 2. This is good. Here you need to do the multiplication, not the subtraction first. So we have negative 1 minus 8 times negative 2 is negative 16. And then minus negative 16, let's change that to plus positive 16, which will give us 15. Interesting. Here you did the multiplication first and waited on the subtraction. So 12 plus negative 50, it's negative 38. Good. Negative 16 plus 8 times 9. Now here you did the addition when you should do the multiplication first. So negative 16 plus 72, and that would be, let's see, 72 minus 16 is positive 56. Okay, so here now we start to have some parentheses, so you do parentheses first. So you did parentheses first here, this is correct. But now we have subtraction and multiplication, and it looks like you subtracted, and you need to do multiplication. So we have 3 minus 5 times negative 4 is negative 20. Change that to adding a positive, which is 23. In here, we do the parentheses, negative 1 minus 3, that's negative 4. Okay, so it looks like you're having some trouble with when you're adding or subtracting integers, what the sign is. It looks like you're confusing the rules. Oh, I hope that sound worked. Looks like you're confusing the rules for multiplication and division and addition and subtraction. Okay, so again, negative 1 minus 3 is negative 4. 4 divided by negative 4 would be negative 1. Okay, let's see here. Started off good. We have the 10. You did the parentheses. Here again, you subtracted first. You want to do negative 3 minus 50. So multiply, and that's negative 53. Okay, and here's our last slide. Okay, so you have to be careful with exponents. So if you have negative 5 squared, that means 2 factors of negative 5. So multiply negative 5 by itself. And a negative times a negative is positive. If the negative 5 is not in parentheses, this actually means, you could think of this as take the opposite, or negative 1 times 5 times 5, 2 factors of 4. So we're not squaring the negative. So here we were squaring the negative, so we have 2 negative signs. Here we're just squaring the 5, and the negative or opposite stays on the outside. So this is negative 25. So here we have negative 25 minus 5 squared is 25, and that would be negative 50. Let's see here, we have 25 minus 25 equals 0, and this one's good. Okay, so I hope this helped. I didn't do all of them. I tried to pick out the main ones of importance. So go over these. You might want to go back and look at just some examples of adding and subtracting integers from Unit 2 and multiplying and dividing, because it looks like you're confusing some of the rules and using multiplication rules for addition and subtraction. And then also remember the order of operations is PEMDAS. Okay. So when you have problems that have multiplication and division and addition and subtraction, you need to do the multiplication and division first. Hope this helps.